Hey, what is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Average Gamer Podcast. My name's Jordan, or Classic Evolved, and we're back with another one. It has been a little bit since the last podcast. I think it's been like 4 weeks, so it's almost been a month since the last time we've talked. So we got some updating to do, I guess. It's also been a little bit since I guess, uploaded on the channel. We were doing Average Gamer Plays, where we're just play random games, and I did iRacing Street Stock series, I believe, which was the last episode. But yeah, this episode, as you can see from the title, we're talking a little bit of iRacing, which has been something I've been playing a lot of recently, and a little bit just on the COD scene, I guess. Obviously, guys, the whole COVID thing has been continually going on. Hopefully, you guys are staying safe. And yeah, keep grinding, I guess. But yeah, the whole COVID thing's been a little bit crazy. As for me, I think I said this in the last podcast. It hasn't changed a lot for me. I actually have been going to work the same as I normally would. I haven't lost any hours. Actually, we've been pushing for more hours. My store I work at is actually down like 100 plus hours, and we're hiring a ton of people right now. Uh, it's been actually pretty crazy, to be honest. But luckily, I think things are slowly starting to die down, and hopefully we won't get a kickback, and get another surge in cases. But, who knows what the future holds in terms of that. But first off, we're going to talk about some iRacing. I've been doing a lot of iRacing. If you watch iRacing, or if you know anything about iRacing, I've moved out of rookie series into D class for both road and oval racing. I don't touch the dirt racing at all in iRacing. I'm not a really big fan of dirt racing. It's just not something I like to do, I guess. But we've been doing a whole lot of road racing. And when I first got into D class, I wasn't sure what car I wanted to drive at all. And the first car I picked up was the Skip Barber, and went to the Skip Barber race series because I had heard it was the most popular track and series that iRacing runs. And it actually is the most popular series overall that iRacing runs. But I personally don't like the way the Skip Barbers race. It's really loose. It's pushing the car to its absolute just sliding. A lot of the fastest guys you see on YouTube, it almost looks like they're just losing control out of these turns, and obviously they're not. It's just a way of driving that I prefer not to be like. So I actually ended up buying a different car. I bought the Rough GT3, which is actually and I actually have to go to the page because I am dumb. But it's the GT3, and it's a fun series, I guess, at its basic form. But the car is really really weird to drive, and it's not a racing style that I like. A lot of the tracks are super tight, and it's all about just perfect cornering and perfect speed out of and into corners, and any little acceleration that's too much or too little, it's just you're gone. And it's really, I don't know, it's really odd to drive personally for me. I couldn't get into it. Obviously, I still have the car, and I'll probably still do some fooling around with it. But the racing I've been doing the most recently has been the Pure Driving School Formula Sprint Series, which is F3. Now, iRacing doesn't have the rights to F1, so they have to use older cars, I guess, if you want to put it like that. They have to use older type Formula cars. Now they have Formula Renault 2.0, and then at their top class for Formula racing, they have the Grand Prix series, and they use the Williams 2010 class car. But again, it's still not, technically Formula. But I've been enjoying a lot in the D class, the F3 Pure Driving's Formula Sprint Series. That's when I've been running a lot recently. And I was actually trying to get a media source up because I have a video from today where I start ninth place and then I get to third. And actually, here it is on screen. Now, oh God. I think there's audio for it, but I can't hear it. So we're muting it. Hopefully that wasn't too loud if it actually played. But yeah, so we start out the clip in ninth, and I didn't have the best qualifying. I absolutely choked, but we pushed really hard in the first section, and I was able to get into third. Now I know you can see there's 4 guys in front of me. The guy in first actually messed up his wheel or something, and he went into pits right away. But you'll see here this track. This is Zandervelt. Oh God, I'm forgetting the name of it. It's the track, which is actually it's a pretty famous track, and I believe Formula doesn't run on it anymore because it's too skinny. I guess it's really hard to overtake. There's not much room to overtake except on the first straight that you saw. But as you can see there, I get past the I guess the 4th place guy, so now I'm in 4th. But the guy in first ends up going into the pits, which you won't see here. And it was a super close race. I ended up getting third. I lost by, I believe, 0.8 seconds during that race. And it was one of those things, and I'll play it again if I can. Yeah, loop it. But it's one of those things where, I don't know, there's something about driving Formula that's a lot just funner for me than driving most anything else. Now, my brother's been getting into iRacing as well, so I've had to go back to the Mazda MX-5 Cup, and it's just so weird to drive those cars that just don't feel like they stick to the ground. The Formula cars have such a good downforce, and you feel like you're sticking to the ground, but the other thing is you can't over brake or else you're going to lock up. And the thing is with with the Mazda MX-5 Cup series, you can brake pretty hard and not lock up in the slightest. It's the weirdest thing. It's so, yeah, I never really took into consideration how different cars drive to one another. And obviously Formula, they're pushing a lot faster and a lot more horsepower, but I've found Formula to be the most fun to drive so far on iRacing at least. And this next season, which ends in like 2 weeks, I think. I should be moving up to C class, which is pretty fun. So I'll get some more series unlocked, and we'll see what we end up doing there. And I do want to get some recordings, I guess, of iRacing, some more at least. It's just Formula takes a lot of practice. That was the first race I've done on that track, and it's been the track for the whole week. Now, maybe, I'm a little hesitant to race, but what I like to do is I like to watch when the week starts. The new track comes up on a Tuesday, and what I like to do is I like to sit there, watch some YouTube videos on the track, see if I like the track, because I don't want to waste 10 or $15 on a track I'm not necessarily gonna like. But I mean, for Formula, most of the tracks are pretty fun. That track actually was really annoying in the beginning, but it turned out to be a pretty fun track overall in the end of it. But what I like to do, like I was saying, is go on YouTube and watch one of the fastest laps or the fastest, record lap on iRacing with that car, with that track, and then see what they do, then go into training by myself and get up to really close to that time, and then work out how I can gain more speed. Now, I'm not the greatest. I mess up a lot. My laps aren't, consistent enough, I would say. Now, with like the Mazda MX-5 Cup, I've been practicing with my brother. The top lap on the track, it's Summit Points Raceway this week. The top lap, I believe, was 1:22. My top is 1:25. And the guys I was racing with in practice sessions we're getting about 125, 124. Now, I know the world record or the top time, I guess, on iRacing for that track with the Mazda MX-5 Cup is 122. But as long as the guys around me aren't pushing 122, I know that that 122 is like near impossible to get. And if I can stay in the top five ish in lap times in my sessions, then I feel pretty good because running consistent laps, especially when you're fighting guys and it's super tight with better drivers, I guess. No one's gonna be pushing a 122. It's just not gonna happen. At the end of the day, it's just not. So as long as I'm up there with some of the top guys, and with obviously what I was just showing you with that Formula F3 on Zandervelt that track, I could push about 2 seconds off the record, which 2 seconds is a lot of time. But in terms of actually racing with the other guys I was racing with, it was pretty. I was pretty top pack out of the average person. And so I felt confident and I hopped in a race and we ended up getting third, which is pretty good to me. I just couldn't get past the second guy. That track is super hard to pass on. But yeah, iRacing's been super, super fun. It's kind of been my main game recently. I've just been really just wanting a game that just takes some skill. And racing is one of the purest just forms of skill. It's you and the track. There's no one really else to blame. Obviously, sometimes you get hit from behind or you'll hit someone who's over brakes for some reason and it's just like, okay. But at the end of the day, it's always avoidable. And with other games, sometimes it's not even close to your fault. I've yet to run into a moment in iRacing where netcode, someone netcode hit me or I netcode hit someone where I'm not actually hitting them on my screen, but somehow I'm actually hitting them. I've yet to have that happen, but with like Call of Duty, for instance, well, geez, yeah, especially this year, it's bad. It's bad. But speaking of Call of Duty, let's talk about some Call of Duty. So, man, today I got into a little bit of a fight on Twitter, and Slasher or Rod Breslau, who's a pretty big Twitter character. He's a huge leak guy, and he's been on like Fox News and stuff for gaming and whatnot. He said aim assist does not belong in esports. That was his tweet today. And then a kid responded with, I don't know if you've tried playing COD on console without auto aim, but it's impossible. And I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it makes it considerably harder. And then a guy responded to him saying, okay, so bad players should be rewarded with aimbot because they can't hit shots. Sure, keyboard and mouse complains a lot about aim assist, but at least they're aim training and trying to improve and trying to improve their aim. Controller players don't even have to aim. And I just tweeted at him. I was like, here's the thing, it's not aimbot. It requires a ton of practice. I guarantee you, Scump would smoke you if you picked up a controller. Even after a year of practice, I guarantee you Scump would still smoke you. Yeah, I don't believe controller and mouse players should be a thing, but there's so many people who are, I guess, naive on the topic, and they just think aim assist is just this auto aim. Fortnite has an issue, right? Fortnite with controller, you can spam L2, aim in, and kind of lock in on the guy. Call of Duty and almost every console game, FPS wise, doesn't do that. You actually have to aim. And I promise you, I haven't touched Call of Duty in months. If I hopped on Call of Duty, I would be pretty trash right now. I'd have to spend a good couple hours practicing to get even remotely close to what I used to be. Because even with aim assist, it still takes a ton of skill. And I don't think a lot of people just take that into consideration. And obviously, I don't think controller players should play keyboard and mouse players, and I don't think keyboard and mouse players should be playing controller players. And this whole issue is a big issue with Fortnite. And Fortnite's big enough and has a big enough prize pool where they should just split the player base. Obviously, with the faces and the names in the scene, they would never do that. They're not gonna put Ninja and and Tim the Tap Man and all these other players and Booga all in a tournament, and then put Nick Merckx with a bunch of random console kids. I don't know. I just don't ever see that happen with Fortnite. Thing is, outside of Fortnite, there's not many other games that are really pushing a competitive scene where they can really complain about keyboard and mouse versus controller. The only other thing I can think of is Warzone, Call of Duty Warzone, Modern Warfare Warzone. But even then, Call of Duty's so easy to aim in, especially with the keyboard and mouse. It's almost just a stupid argument. Now, speaking of Call of Duty, news has come out, and it turns out a lot of these pro players and a lot of players in general have been saying that their aim feels really off, feels super off. Now, they've added a dead zone sensitivity in the game, which is how much movement the stick needs for an input to activate, pretty much. Now, this has been in Rocket League, for example, forever, but Call of Duty has added it recently because, say you have a controller that's sort of used, sometimes your character and your gun will drift to the right because your stick is drifting to the right. But if you move the dead zone up, then that little movement to the right won't actually activate until you move it a little more to the right, right? So drift isn't a big factor anymore, but it still is a big impact, right? Like if you have 0 dead zone, any little movement is going to be movement. And so some people like that, some people don't, whatever. The thing with the last couple updates, it turns out that the dead zone filter, which a lot of people thought was an issue because they've been feeling like they're like almost lagging, like there's an input delay. Turns out this input delay has just been a game side, almost server side issue, where the last couple updates have been adding milliseconds and milliseconds onto the delay between when you move the stick and when it happens on screen. And it's gotten to a point now where it's really bad. And a lot of, like, especially the pro players are noticing it. And it turns out it's just been the last 10, 15 updates. Every update, it just gets worse. And is it laziness on the team over at Modern Warfare? I don't know what's going on with that, but that's got to kind of be fixed because you're talking about millions and millions and millions of dollars into this Call of Duty League just kind of getting thrown away because it just seems like the devs over at Modern Warfare don't really care all too much. And I don't know, this year has been kind of awful for Call of Duty especially. Obviously, it's their start year for the new franchise league and everything, and then COVID hits and they can't run the second half of their tournaments and events they were planning on doing. So I don't know, this year's kind of chalked for Call of Duty, aside from the fact that Modern Warfare is terrible. And even Scump came out and said it in his last video. If it wasn't for Warzone, this is probably the worst Call of Duty of all time. The spawns suck. The spawn system with the squad spawns suck. The maps are terrible. I mean, I honestly wish they launched this league last year during Black Ops 4. It would have been 10 times better. And for some reason, people like this game. And I don't get it. But, I mean, people have their opinions. People, I guess, like what they like. And for some reason, people like this game. I don't get it. But hey, I guess I don't have to get it at all. Because, yeah, I don't know. In other news, though, I saw a tweet from Octane Sam, obviously the COD Pro, speaking of COD, and he posted a picture of the Xbox 360, the white version, the original version, and he's like, what was the first game you think of when you see this? And instantly I was like, Black Ops 1, the original Black Ops. And I don't know, I was going to tell the story. I remember when I first got my first Xbox 360, because I had originally, and I always played the original Xbox, and I played it way past it when it was popular, I guess. I was playing it in like 2009, 10, 8. It was kind of already gone by that point, I think. But I used to play the old Star Wars Battlefronts all the time and whatever. 2011 though, I end up buying an Xbox 360 with my brother. We saved up enough money on our birthday to get it. And 2011, I'm trying to remember what Call of Duty came out in 2011. Oh God, was it Modern Warfare 3? Yeah, Modern Warfare 3 it was. The 2010 was Call of Duty Black Ops. So what happened was we went to the store. We went to GameStop, and we ended up buying the Xbox 360. And then we go into Best Buy, which was right next to the GameStop, and we went in and we got Call of Duty Black Ops. That was it. We got 2 controllers, Call of Duty Black Ops, and an Xbox 360. And that was about all the money we had to spend. And at the time, Call of Duty Black Ops was the newest Call of Duty. Because it was it actually the newest Call of Duty? No, I don't. I think it was. No, no, wait. I'm pulling a blank. I believe it might. I think Call of Duty Black Ops was the newest Call of Duty at the time. But we had bought the Xbox 360, and we come home, right? And we're playing it. Me and my brother would play split screen all the time. We played split screen. We shared an Xbox 360 for years, and we'd play split screen Call of Duty always. I mean, that's all we did. Played split screen Call of Duty. And I remember getting home, hopping into a bot lobby in Call of Duty Black Ops, and just grinding. And we did that for weeks. And we always told our parents we didn't need multiplayer because we could play bots. And eventually, we kind of got old of it. I mean, after a few weeks of just playing bots, it gets a little old. We're like, can we try multiplayer? We have this like 3-day pass that came with our Xbox 360, and my mom or my dad was like, sure, whatever. We get on and we start playing multiplayer, and there's a huge difference between playing bots and playing real players. And instantly, we were hooked. We just wanted the multiplayer. And that became kind of our, I guess, like birthday gift every year. My parents would pay for our Xbox Live, and then we'd always just get the next Call of Duty. And I remember getting Modern Warfare 3, and this was a few months after it had released. I believe it was like 2 months after it had released. I went and I helped my dad do some yard work at this guy's house, and he gave me and my brother like $30 each, which was $60, which is how much Modern Warfare 3 was. And so we take that money, we go to GameStop, we get MW3, we bring it home. First map we play is Village, MW3 Village, which we hated. And we were like, screw this, we're going back to Call of Duty Black Ops. And then after like a day of playing Call of Duty Black Ops, we're like, all right, we got to try Modern Warfare 3 again. So we get Modern Warfare 3 up again, and instantly we get, I think it's Arkadine. Oh my goodness, the mall map. Oh, I'm gonna forget the mall map. Oh, here's I literally see it. I look it up instantly. There it is. Yeah, Arkadine. Oh, I was right. Yeah, we get Arkadine, and I use the default UMP class. I think it was a default UMP class. I think that was it. Shoot, I'm kind of blanking now. I think it was a default UMP class, and I was hooked, instantly hooked. And then it turns out that was my favorite Call of Duty of all time. I know Call of Duty has even come close to MW3. And I don't know what it was, man, but it was such a good game. Like top tier. And then obviously Black Ops 2 came out, and Black Ops 2 was really good as well. But around the end of Black Ops 2, I kind of started to fade away from Call of Duty a little bit. And I actually got really big into Battlefield, and I got Battlefield, but that's a different story. But yeah, no, I saw this picture from Octane on Twitter, and instantly, like what I just told you for the last 5 minutes, that just went through my head. And I can remember, oh my goodness, I can remember going to the GameStop, buying the Xbox 360, going into Best Buy. When we walked into Best Buy, a buzzer went off because we walked in with another store's merchandise or whatever. And then they put a sticker on it. They're like, "Oh, you're good." And then we left after we bought Black Ops because GameStop didn't have Black Ops because for some reason I forget. And we wanted to get the new copy. We didn't want a used copy, and they didn't have any new copies for I. And then after that, we go to Friendly's, which is just this restaurant chain. At least on the East Coast, I've yet to see it in the Midwest now, or in Colorado now where I live. So I don't know, but we go to Friendly's and we hid the Xbox 360 under one of the seats in the car because we were like, we don't want it to get stolen. And oh my goodness, so funny, like looking back on that. And then I still remember getting my own Xbox 360 that I bought off my older brother, and man, good times. And then I remember when the PS4 released, it was Advanced Warfare, and I remember getting the PS4. I just, man, good times, really good times. And now, crazy, because I remember when the PS4 released thinking, wow, this is it, the newest console. And now here we are, and the PS5 is about to release. 6 years, 7 years later? I think it's 7 years later. And man, that's crazy. Crazy to think. I think the PS4 released with Call of Duty Ghost. But I mean, yeah. I mean, it's crazy to look back and to think now the PlayStation 5 is about to come out, and it's like, man, that is, I don't know, it's crazy to think about. But yeah. And speaking of that, I mean, the PS5 coming out and the new Xbox, whatever it's called. I don't know if I'm even gonna get the new consoles because I've kind of moved into PC gaming, and that's really all I play on now is PC. And I don't know. I don't know. It's just PC is so nice to play on. I don't know if I could go back. It really all depends on what the PS5 is pushing uh video wise. Can it support, 120 hertz, which 120 hertz is going to be way better than 60 hertz, but it's still not as good as the 144 hertz I already have. So how are they planning on doing this all? What are the outputs going to be? Because I mean, there is HDMI that can support 144 hertz, but are they going to push that out? And not all monitors can support 144 hertz HDMI cables, right? Like, it'll be interesting to see how that all works out. I'm trying to look on Twitter right now at anything trending, but honestly, I'm not seeing anything that even remotely seems like something I would talk about. I guess the Last Dance, Michael Jordan's documentary, came out. I've yet to watch it. I might end up watching it. I don't know. I don't really care that much. I mean, it's cool and all. Don't get me wrong. I think MJ's the GOAT. Well, actually, Brian Scalabrini's the GOAT. Then who else? Gosh, I'm forgetting. I'm forgetting names. But Brian Scalabrini's the GOAT. And then Steve Nash. Yeah, best point guard of all time. I get hate for it, but no, I'm kidding. Am I though? I don't know. But yeah, man, that's kind of everything I had to talk about. Life goes on. School, work, nothing's really changed in that part, I guess. Uh, and been grinding iRacing, a ton of it. And I'll try to get more videos out with iRacing and me racing in iRacing. It's just, I don't know, it's not hard, but it's hard to want to talk and race at the same time, because it does kind of get you out of focus doing that. But I mean, at the end of the day, iRacing, it's super fun, and I got to start recording maybe more of it. It's just been fun to sit back and chill and play games. and watch Twitch. And I recently went part time at work as well, not because of hours getting cut. I just so I could focus on school and whatnot. And so I have more time to kind of sit back and actually watch Twitch for once, uh, instead of getting home, falling asleep, waking up, doing school, having like an hour and a half, 2 hours to play, and then going to work again. I got a little more time, uh, kind of chill, and it's been super nice to chill, watch Summit, watch Lyric, whatever. I don't know. And then next week I was supposed to go to Disney. Well, obviously that's not going to happen because of the whole COVID thing. So I'm still taking the time off that I was going to. So I get to chill. So actually, next week I'll probably be putting out some iRacing videos. And obviously, I want to do more than just iRacing for the average gamer plays thing. It's average gamer plays anything really. I'm just gonna put average gamer plays then whatever the game is. And I've been also playing a ton of Battlefield 4, so hopefully we can get back to that and maybe record some of that because Battlefield 4 has been super fun. Been dropping 100 bombs. I know that's cocky, but actually, I might as well. Where are you? Where are you? If I can even find it, probably won't be able to find it. Possibly. Oh gosh, no, that's not it. That is not it. Oh yeah, I do have it. Here it is. You can see it on screen. 103 and 47. I know it's still a 2.0 KD. You died 147 times. Yeah, I know it's not always the best, but if you want to push high kills, you're probably gonna die a few times. I mean, look at everyone else. They're pushing probably close to 2.0. Any of the top guys, it's always around that. But yeah, I've been Battlefield 4 grinding. It's been super fun. Uh, super duper duper fun. iRacing, super fun. I don't know. I've just been chilling, playing games I enjoy, and relaxing. Hopefully, you guys have been as well. Uh, hopefully, man, sports come back soon because kind of boring to be honest some nights. But hopefully, you guys have been doing well. Stay safe. Uh, keep wearing your masks. Keep distancing. I guess. That's the thing to do. And hopefully, you guys have a good one. And I will see you guys all in the next one. Peace out.